Hi, I am Valerie Carsey, and I am the author of Adventures in Juju 12 Days to the Kollack Games. And I have 20 questions here that I am going to answer so you can get to know me a little bit better. So, question number one. What are 5 words to describe you? I actually cheated and I wrote these 5 down because I wanted to think about that for a minute. And I have non-judgmental. I like to be really open-minded, caring, dependable. I think of myself as a careful risk taker, and quixotic. And I had to put that in. That's my favorite word. But I'm definitely a little quirky. Dog or cat? So actually, I raise chickens and pigs, but honestly, I'd probably say goats. I think they're possibly the cutest puppy, or not the cutest little animal ever. All right, what's your favorite color? Orange. Hot or cold? Well, today is a very cold day, and I have a hot fire going, so maybe a hot fire on a cold day. What's your favorite animal? Giraffe. River or ocean? So I currently live by the river, and I grew up off the ocean. And I have to say, I could definitely spend many days in the middle of the ocean on a boat and feel totally content. So I'm going to say ocean. What's your favorite movie? It's a movie called Mirror Mask, written by Neil Gaiman. Salty or sweet? So I'm a little bit of a sugar addict, so I'm going to say sweet, but I actually really like a lot of salt in my sweet. What were some of your favorite children's books? I definitely loved Shel Silverstein. I loved various fairy tales. I loved Matilda and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I loved as I got older, I started reading the Wizard of Oz series, and I feel very inspired by the Wizard of Oz series. Um, I'll start with that. Soft or hard mattress? I'm going to say hard mattress. What's your favorite sport? So I like a lot of sports. I don't actually follow any sports, but probably my favorite sport to go and watch is roller derby, specifically the female roller derby. I think it's a lot of fun to watch a lot of badass women on roller skates beating each other up. Star Wars or Star Trek or Stargate or Battlestar Galactica? So believe it or not, I'm pretty sure I've seen all of these. I own the entire Star Wars series. Um, However, I really enjoyed Star Trek. I grew up a lot with The Next Generation, and I think Spock is kind of awesome. Obviously not Next Generation. Yeah, so we'll go with Star Trek. Okay. Can you describe Adventures in Juju 12 Days to the Kollack Games? Of course. So 12 Days in Kollack Games is kind of loosely based on uh, Shel Silverstein and Dr. Seuss, kind of in that rhyming. It's all in rhyme. However, it is a chapter book, and it kind of follows a little bit of the story similar to The Wizard of Oz. There are 5 lands. There's Ara, Baser, Edom, Foy, and Aram, and most of the story takes place in Ara, um, and Baser and Edom and Foy, and they don't go into Aram. And there's a sinister magician that comes and kind of causes havoc. But what I think is really fascinating about the story is that you end up in this really magical world, and you take these different modes of transportation, like this air car, or you take a river boat, or you travel via toboggan. And I think sort of the adventure of the trek is kind of interesting, as well as the surrounding areas with like glowing flowers and light bulbs growing out of the ground. I think that's kind of fun. I really enjoyed writing it. Okay, so I answered this one. Letters or emails? So I tend to write a lot of emails. I don't write a lot of letters, but I had several pen pals growing up, and I loved writing letters, and I love receiving letters. So I'm going to say letters over emails. What prompted you to start writing Adventures in Juju series? So I ran out of books to read Ethan, my son. My son's name is Ethan. For the bedtime story. So I decided, oh well, I'll write something really quick, and we'll have something really fun and quick that I've written to read for the bedtime story. Um, and then I sat down and I came up with a little bit over something into the first chapter, and I read it, and Ethan started to really love it. He got into it. So we started reading each piece that I wrote. I wrote a little bit most days, and he started listening, and he really enjoyed the whole book. And we talked about maybe writing the second book, and I really sort of fantasized writing at least 5 books in the series. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to read with him, and his excitement about it was really motivating. Where were you on 9/11? On 9/11? So long story, but a very close friend of mine had just passed away, and I moved from Ventura County down to San Diego County, and I was getting ready to start a brand new job. So I was in my brand new apartment. My roommate hadn't showed up yet. My job hadn't quite started yet, and I didn't know anybody. So I was in the El Cajon area, if you know San Diego very well, kind of where El Cajon and Santee are. And I woke up and I turned on the radio like I did every day, and it was not music. And I went and turned on the TV, and I sort of just vegged and watched the whole scenario for hours, in the news area, just kind of in a zone. Um, it was tragic, and one of those things that I believe pretty much everyone remembers where they were on that day, at least in America. Okay, who is your favorite writer? So I like a lot of writers. A lot of them are various writers are very inspiring. But I would say that my favorite is probably Neil Gaiman. Um, I admit I have not written or not read everything he has, but everything I have read about his, I've thoroughly enjoyed. And again, he was the writer of Mere Mask, and I think Mere Mask is rather brilliant. What is an odd fact about you? Sure. So I have crooked fingers. Not everyone can do this with their fingers. What did you write Adventures in Juju 12 Days, or why did you write Adventures in Juju 12 Days to the Kollack Games in rhyme? Good question. So I actually was a spoken word artist for a few years, and I had been writing poetry probably since I was 9 years old. I had won a few writing competitions, I think somewhere around junior high, early high school years. Um, and it was just something I love to do. And it's really funny because I actually write my poetry in prose form. And so it was a little odd to sit down and suddenly start writing a book that was all in um, rhyme. But it came out that way. I thought it was kind of fun. It kind of gave it a little bit more of a nostalgic, magical touch in my mind. And I have kept it up, and I think it's kind of fun. And uh, I'm kind of hoping on a level, since the wonderful Dr. Seuss and Shel Silverstein have passed on, that I could maybe help enter that market and be a new series of poetry that could be just as beloved. How do you deal with a challenging situation? um, so I guess I breathe a lot. I take a lot of deep breaths. I talk things out with a lot of people. I journal. I have lots of coping skills, and and definitely trying to break my way into the writer's market is a challenge. But I also believe if you stay focused, you have a good plan, and you're tenacious, you can accomplish things. And that's where I'm going with this. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you got to know me just a little bit better, and definitely check out some more of the 3-word challenge videos. Yeah, and have a great day.